Me after episode 3. Oh my god, the writers love women, they love me, oh my god, I'm so happy. You know, of course I was upset about those that died, don't get me wrong, but I was happy that my favorite character killed the Night King. Me after episode 4. I absolutely hate this show. The writers hate women, and this sucks. Ah! I'm gonna do my review tomorrow, but I hate this episode so much. They just ripped apart all the couples that I shipped, and I just went through hell and back, walking through huge puddles. It was all flooded from all the rain. To come home and watch that episode, it was so emotionally draining. I cried so many times and I feel so sad. I hate this. Oh my god, this was worse than last episode. I don't know. They just tore everything apart. Miss Sunday, Brienne, Rhaegal, Grey Worm. I mean, yeah, Gendry got legitimized and his proposal got turned down, so not so much him, but like, yeah, still him. Ghost. They all deserve better. Hi, everyone. I wanted to do a recap and reaction of episode 4. I feel so stupid right now. Oh, as you can see, I actually have makeup on. I used my Urban Decay palette, and I just wanted to play with it some more today, because why not? I'm gonna put a video of some of the looks that I've created with it soon. Yeah, after posting this, I'll work on that. The promo for episode 4 was obviously really vague. They did that on purpose. I actually did see a lot of the leaks and spoilers right before the moment of weakness. Yeah, I was actually out at brunch. I was at a drag brunch and I was having a lot of fun, but like I found out some of those spoilers and yeah, it's kind of like smiling through all the pain. Pictures and videos were leaked. This was not a smooth sailing episode. I feel that like episode 4 was worse than episode 3 because we didn't see this coming. And Kit had the audacity to be like this was one of his favorite episodes. This was heartbreaking. Episode 4 was entitled The Last of the Starks. It should have been called Caylin is a Fool or Where the Ships Go to Die. Yeah, it seems like everything that we loved and held dear died and broke apart in this episode. And I've lost hope. Kind of. You know, I still hold out hope because that's who I am. Yeah, I have very low expectations. It seems like the leaks that came out for the end of Game of Thrones are right. It seems like it's heading in that direction. I hope that's not true. I don't even know. If you think Game of Thrones is gonna have a happy ending, you're not paying attention. My hopeful, romantic side, optimistic side is hoping that there is somewhat of a happy ending. It's some light at the end of this dark tunnel that we're headed into. All right, so let's get into the start of this episode. Finally, it starts off with all of the grieving. We see Dany with Jorah, and I feel so bad about that. She really is losing everyone. I feel absolutely sickened to see everything that she is going through. At this point, she would have been better off not getting involved in any of this. I love the part with Sansa and Theon, and she gives Theon the Stark pin and she pins it on him. It was so sweet. And Sophie's emotion in that scene was incredible. I was already crying at the beginning of this episode. I'm a big baby, but still, it was just, wow. Jon's speech was very Ned-like. It was very leader-like. His voice got all deep. I was like, is Ned back? Like, what? Who is this? I like the whole beginning part where people are like, oh, spot the Gendry. It's like a whole game. Like, where is he? He's just like, you see him there in the corner next to his adopted father, Davos, and his adoptive father-in-law, the Hound. Cute. I guess all the Dothraki died, which is what I figured from last episode. Like, you see them laying there. Yeah, that sucks. Dany has lost a lot. They're there lighting up all the bodies. We see some of these characters that we have been watching and have grown to love. And it's just the end. It's the final goodbye. We see Beric and Ed and Lyanna. And yeah, how Arya lights it up for Beric. Jon for Lyanna. And Sam for Ed. Like, Sam, that's your fault. Okay, so this whole celebratory feast was nice. It was probably one of the few positive points of this episode. I thought this whole episode was going to be about grieving and kind of celebrating this victory. But I mean, we only had 3 episodes left, now 2 episodes left. So there had to be more to the episode than that. I get it. We can obviously tell that Danny and John are on the rocks. Gendry is looking for Arya, of course. And it's just sweet. And he's asking the Hound, like, oh, where's Arya? And the Hound, in his own type of way, approves of it. He's like, yeah, I know why you're looking for her. And he's like, oh, like, I didn't mean it like that. But he's like, why wouldn't you mean it like that? So many people have died and you're still alive, so why not? Gendry gets up, and this part is so forced, it honestly feels like fan fiction. He gets up to go look for Arya, obviously, and Danny yells like, Gendry, is it? Am I right? He's like, yes, my queen, that's me. And just like that, he gets made a lord. And obviously, you know, she doesn't do it out of the kindness of her heart, which I don't blame her. She wants allies. I don't know if it was like the smartest thing to do, because, you know, technically Baratheon, they took the throne away from the Targaryens. I want him to be happy, whatever makes him happy, even if he ends up denouncing it and not wanting to be a lord, that's totally fine with me. I missed it the first time, I got it the second time. That interaction between Davos and Jon, when Daenerys says like, oh, you're Robert Baratheon's bastard son, obviously it's like, who told her? How'd she know this? Obviously Jon told her, and Davos looks at Jon like, how dare you? And, you know, whatever, it turned out okay, but it could have gone pretty badly. Daenerys could have been like, bye, Jaquettes. But, you know, obviously she needs her allies and she wants to show that, you know, she's a good person. And obviously Gendry fought with them, so, you know, why not? She makes that little comment to Tyrion like, see, I could be clever too. And Tyrion and Sansa exchange a look. I hate where Dany's story arc is heading. I genuinely feel bad for her, and I didn't know that I would. Brienne, Jaime, Podrick, and Tyrion play this little drinking game, kind of like a Never Have I Ever. Super funny. I'm like, oh yay, like something's gonna happen. Tyrion brings up virginity, and Brienne gets super uncomfortable. I don't blame her. Like, she doesn't want to talk about that. I wouldn't want to talk about that. She gets up. At that moment, Tormund comes in, and Tormund obviously likes Brienne, and I actually want Brienne with Tormund. I think she should experience Jaime, which she does, but I think Tormund has always loved her and he would never leave her. Of course, you know, the feelings have to be reciprocated. If she doesn't like him, she doesn't like him, but he would never make her cry like that, and he'd never walk out on her. So Tormund comes in and he sees that whole interaction between her and Jaime. Brienne storms off, Jaime follows her, and Tormund gets sad. He's heartbroken. He's like, this fucker came in and took my woman. But, you know, he rebounds. There's another lady, you know, everybody here in Winterfell is super horny. They all almost died and they're alive, so might as well. There's that whole Bran and Tyrion moment. And yeah, it's whatever. Bran is super creepy. Like, he's basically saying he lives in the past and he doesn't want anymore. Tyrion's like, oh, I envy that. And Bran's like, no, you shouldn't. He's just funny to me. Like, whatever Bran says, I think it's hilarious. And all these toasts go on. Tormund toasts the Dragon Queen. Daenerys toasts Arya, the hero of Winterfell. Sansa suddenly loses her appetite when she sees that whole moment between Dany and Jon. And okay, I know there's a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but there's people that are Jonza fans, which I don't know. I don't see it. But that Sansa is actually jealous of Daenerys and Jon, and I don't think that's true. I just genuinely think that she does not like Daenerys, and it's more of like a family type of relationship between her and Jon. Because, yeah, although the Targaryens and the Lannisters, this whole family thing, you know, it's different than the Starks. They didn't grow up thinking that's okay, you know? I just think she doesn't like Dany. She just doesn't vibe with her. She thinks that she's entitled and very prideful, and she's just like not feeling it. She has some type of jealousy towards her for whatever reason. Tormund and company praising Jon, and you see Dany and she's just kind of like, in front of her there's a Starbucks cup. It's like, did they leave that there on purpose for us to catch it, or did they just not notice it? And yeah, people were comparing it to when in Downton Abbey they left a water bottle in the back in a scene. It's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of gentrification going on in Winterfell. There's like a Starbucks now, you know. It's really building up to that her and Jon are never really gonna work. North, the people there are never gonna love her the way they love Jon. And it's a tough pill to swallow. she feels threatened. And I don't blame her. It's hard because in her journey before, when she started, she was praised so heavily and she gained the respect of the Dothraki and the Unsullied, etc. And over here, it's different. Varys is noticing, and you already start seeing in this episode him turning his back on Dany. Podrick gets some lady love. We see him in the back. There were 2 ladies. Good for him. He deserves it. He fought hard. He fought valiantly. So why not? And yeah, he's apparently very talented in that area. So... And yeah, a lady tries to get with the Hound and the Hound brushes it off. I think he even growls at her. I was like, Hound and Sansa finally have a moment, and I thought this was such an incredible scene. Finally, they talk about this. I actually, since I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, I saw that moment where the Hound volunteers to take Sansa away from King's Landing. He's like, let's go, come away with me and I'll take you to Winterfell. And she says no. And it's like, what would have happened if she did say yes? She would not have gone through all of this, and she wouldn't have been the Sansa she is today. And that's what she says. And that whole reference back to Little Bird, you know, she's not the same Little Bird she was season 1. So vulnerable and innocent. She's toughened up and she learned from Cersei and from Littlefinger. You see Gendry looking for Arya and he's like running around all over the place searching, and I'm like, baby. And he finally finds her, and of course Arya's, you know, with her arrows and stuff, as always, she's just doing her own thing, and I really appreciate that about her. I think she didn't stray away from who she is, unfortunately, for, you know, Gendria fans. Gendry refers to him as Gendry Rivers, and I'm like, I thought it was Gendry Waters. I don't know if they're going to explain this, or if this was a mess up, or if this was intentional. I have no clue. Gendry finds Arya, tells her that Daenerys made him Lord Baratheon of Storm's End, and he's super happy about it. He kisses her, and then he gets down on one knee and proposes to her. He wants her to marry him, to become his lady of Storm's End. And it was kind of heartbreaking. I mean, you see it in her eyes that she obviously loves him, but her mission is still not completed. So, you know, her focus is somewhere else other than there, and it has to be if she really wants to accomplish what she wants to accomplish. I didn't expect her to say yes, and she didn't, but, you know, she kissed him, and it was just like a sweet, loving kiss, and it made it seem like she would say yes, but, you know, she didn't. She rejects him. Not really rejects him, but she's just like, I've never been a lady, you know, that's not me. So to me, that was kind of like a not today, but like, you know, maybe someday. I think there has to be more to this. I do not think it's the end. And I mean, yeah, he looks sad after, but he wasn't fully defeated. I'm pretty sure he'll follow her to King's Landing or whatever, you know. If they both survive all of this, there has to be some other interaction. There has to be more. I still think that they should be endgame, and it would be such a disservice to Arya to not make it that way, because, you know, once this is all said and done, when she gets her revenge, there has to be something more to that. She can't just be that. She's not going to go serve the faceless god, whatever. Again, she still has more to do. You know, all of this surrounds around her love for her family, and, you know, she loves him, but she wants to keep him safe. So I think this is something that she had to say to him for him not to follow her. So why give him false hope? Why say yes when, you know, she doesn't really see it happening at this point? There's still so much that has to be done. So I don't blame her. It's very in her character, but it still hurt my heart a lot, because, you know, you want them to be happy, but every couple needs a rocky part of the relationship. And if this would have been smooth sailing, then I would have been like, for sure one of them is gonna die and this is not gonna be the end game. But since there is this little rocky patch, you know, there's still hope, you know. But it is Game of Thrones, and if you expect a happy ending, you're kind of a fool. But you know what, I'll happily still be a fool because they deserve it. And I think this relationship is genuinely full of love, and it's founded on friendship rather than just a political type of relationship, you know, and it's not ancestral. There's so many of the other relationships that are destined to not be. This is a relationship that, if the writers chose one happy ending, you know, besides Sam and Gilly, I don't see either one of them dying. Like, it's just like they're kind of safe at this point. Then it'd be them. They'd be the one. Because, yeah, this show this episode just tore up all of the relationships that I shipped. It's just kind of like annoying. You know, maybe they just both decide to not be Lord and Lady, which would be fine. I don't care. I just want them to be happy. Or she reinvents the whole lady thing, which I think would be very Arya. At the end of this, if they both live and, you know, they choose to be together, she could just change it. You know, a lady doesn't have to just be this. She could be training young girls and making them warriors. But I definitely don't think it was just a full-on rejection. She was just rejecting the notion of being a lady. She obviously still loves him. Like, usually when you break up with somebody, you don't kiss them like that and look at them like that if you don't have some type of feelings, which she does. Also, I'd like to point out to everybody that said that, like, Gendry obviously doesn't know Arya, and she doesn't know him because she didn't know that what he wanted with Lance, and he didn't know that she didn't want to be a lady. Like, that's completely wrong. Okay, he was drinking, and it was just heat of the moment type of thing. Like, he loves her, and, you know, it happens. You know, he, like he said, would say no to it all just to be with her. So, interesting thing, that time that she's told her dad that she's not a lady, that no, that's not her, you know, that's the same episode she actually meets Gendry later on, of course. So, interesting. If she's gonna be a lady for somebody, it's gonna be for him, even if, you know, it's not a traditional lady. So, another ship that got their time before it was just taken away was Jaime and Brienne, and I'm glad they got to do this because this is something that she has always wanted, and he obviously has feelings for her as well, and she deserves it. She was just kind of done dirty at the end of it all. They obviously do the deed. They do the nasty. They discuss Tormund, and Jaime's kind of jealous, and she's like, what are you jealous? And he's like, yeah, I guess I do kind of sound kind of jealous. And he's like, oh, I've never, you know, slept with a knight. And she's like, I've never slept with anyone. Jaime hasn't slept with anyone but his sister, right? I guess that probably wouldn't have been an appealing thing to say at this moment. I don't blame him for admitting that. But it was nice, and I'm glad Brienne got some because she's deserves it. I saw a picture of the scene leaked beforehand, and I was like, I'm happy it wasn't fake. So Jon and Dee have their little moment, very small. I even forgot it happened until I saw it again. Because their relationship to me is like on the back burner. I like how she asked him, hey, are you drunk? And he like gets up like, no? That's like all us yesterday, Cinco de Mayo. She confesses her love to him, and we know that they love each other. It's made apparent, obviously, through their actions. They kiss, and he breaks it off. He's so uncomfortable. This is a very weird thing for him. He doesn't like the idea that they're related. I don't blame him. She is not so bothered by it. She's more so bothered that he has more of a claim to the throne and the implications of that. She knows he doesn't want it, and I get it. It's just, this is the only thing she's ever known, and it just creates a lot of rocky tension in the relationship. That's why I do not see this ending positively. Dany doesn't want him to tell anyone. I don't blame her, but Jon's like, well, I have to tell my sisters. I have to tell Sansa and Arya, and she's like, Sansa, she is not the girl you used to know. She's been through a lot, and she has. Yeah, she's gonna use this to her advantage, which she does, you know, duh. Jon is not, you know, that bright. Obviously, it's never gonna be the way that it was between them. It's done. Okay, so Jaime was awake after, you know, doing it with Brienne, and that reminds me back in episode 2 when Arya was awake after doing it with Gendry. And yeah, it seems like if you're awake after doing it, that means they can leave. So yeah, and Jaime does leave, and Arya did leave. Kind of, yeah. So I do agree with Sansa about taking a little bit of a breather. That would have made so much of a difference. Obviously, everybody still needs, you know, some relaxing time, some recuperation, you know, get their stuff together again and get going. But Dany's not having it. And I understand her point of view too. She's like, we need to get out there every day that I don't attack, my enemies get stronger. Which is true, but like her dragons, Rhaegal is like, you know, he still needs to rest up. Yeah, she really wanted to go for it, and yeah, as we know, it didn't work out. Jon sticks up for Daenerys to Sansa, and then Arya and Sansa share this look. And it's funny because I like how their relationship now is good. They have more of an understanding for each other. I like how Tyrion says, oh, Sir Jaime's gonna stay here. And then they pan the camera to Brienne, and she's like, Arya confronts Jon about needing a word. Her and Sansa need to chat with him. Jon just made it worse by saying it. And I like how it's like the remaining Starks, which is obviously the name of the episode, even though there would have been more appropriate names for the episode. It was a very cute shot that you see all of them there, and I'm like, oh, my Starks. And I was so happy for them. Arya is more of that common ground between Jon and Sansa. She sees both sides, but she still sees Daenerys as an outsider, which is a little bit unfair. It's like whatever Daenerys does, she doesn't win, no matter what. But they've been through so much that like family is family. It's hard to trust anybody else. Jon makes Bran reveal to them his true identity because Jon's, you know, and Bran does it. It's kind of like when you're like, oh my god, I don't want to say that I like this person. Like, oh my god, can you please tell them? Like, Jon makes them swear not to tell anyone what he says. But hey, like technically Bran told them. So Sansa, you know, it was a little finger type of thing, you know, a play on words. Technically, she didn't reveal what Jon said. She revealed what Bran said. Also, guys, I'd like to point out that Ned Stark is the only one on this show who can actually keep a secret. The secret that he was holding on to for so long. And Sansa spreads it like that. You know, started with Jon too. He couldn't keep it to himself, so. Also very interesting, Sansa is so much like Caylin. And they don't really go into this, but Ned knew not to tell Caylin because she could have used it to her advantage, obviously. Save herself, save the children, save their family, and turn Jon over. And, you know, Sansa uses things to her advantage. She's a smart girl and she has grown on me so much. And I like Sansa, but yeah, you know, you gotta be smart sometimes, and sometimes that means using things to your advantage and saving yourself and those near you. And, you know, we know when Jon told her that this was something that she was going to use to her advantage and do what she thinks is best for her family. Tyrion and Jaime have that whole little scene. Tyrion asks about Brienne and about how their sexual encounter was, which isn't any of his business. Bronn comes in with crossbow and he's like, yeah, I knew you did it. And it's like, whoa, like Bronn came out of nowhere. You know that he had to show up in this episode. I thought he might kill Jaime, which he didn't. You know, at this point, like, come on, just give Bronn his castle and let him be. He tells them about Cersei's plan and how she wanted him to kill them, blah, blah, blah. And Tyrion promises Highgarden. You know, sorry, Bronn, no offense, but that is not a glow up from the Tyrells. Then they show Arya and the Hound leaving, and I love these two. It's such a great duo, such a great adventure time. As much as I don't want Arya to leave behind Gendry, she still has stuff to accomplish, and she has to do it. And, you know, yeah, they're on their way, and the Hound's like, I don't plan on returning. And she's like, neither do I. And you're like, there's hopeful people out there that are like, because she's gonna go to Storm's End and be with Gendry. And I'm like, nah, it's more so she thinks she's gonna die. It's a suicide mission. I hate how she says that she doesn't like a hero. Arya, honey, you're a hero. Yeah, you know, you've killed people, but like heroes kill people. You're doing all of this for a noble reason. This is your revenge for everything that was done to your family. Rhaegal's wing is still all messed up. They should have let him stay somewhere and rest, or bandage that up, or put some armor on these dragons. Like, come on, they're so vulnerable. It's like nothing was learned from Viserion dying. And now she loses Rhaegal because Euron has great aim. Isn't Euron a little bit of a Mary Sue? He got that aim right through there, hit the dragon. Obviously Rhaegal's like a little weak, but like, gosh, he went down fast and it was brutal and awful. These poor dragons, these poor animals, there's so much animal abuse. Sansa and Tyrion have their scene, and it alludes to her telling Tyrion Jon's true identity. Yeah, so here it starts. The whole Tyrion and Varys turning their back on Dany. Tormund and the wildlings heading home. Jon's like, yeah, you could stay here. Like, this is your home too. And he's like, nah, like, the women here don't like me, and we gotta be where we belong. We're happy over there. There's a lot more room to roam. And Jon gives Tormund Ghost. And I'm like, it's like those people that buy a puppy and then it grows up and they're like, I don't want it anymore. It's like Ghost has fought for you and everything, and you're like, now that he has no ear, I don't want him. For whatever reason, maybe he did it to keep Ghost safe. Like, oh, I don't want him to be here anymore. He'll be happier over there. And it's like, I don't care right now. Like, come on. You don't want him to stay with Sansa? I mean, Sansa's direwolf lady was actually the first one to die, so yeah, maybe not a good idea, but still. Ghost is a Stark, and to send him off like that without petting him, without showing love, like, they haven't shown Jon showing Ghost love in forever. He's like completely detached now that he has a dragon. Well, I have news for you, Jon. You're gonna find out real soon that your dragon is dead. The conversation with Tormund and Jon actually makes me feel like there's some foreshadowing Jon really liked being over there. Maybe after this is all over, he decides he wants nothing to do with all of this and he decides to move over there, be with ghosts and the wildlings, or maybe even start his own Night's Watch. Sam and Gilly come out and it's all like, oh, bye Jon, like, oh, whatever, and Gilly's pregnant, so yay, congrats, but okay. And she's like, oh, if it's a boy, I want to name him Jon, and Jon's like, well, I hope it's a girl. And it's like, okay, this is awkward now, so. And Sam and Jon kind of say bye, like it's, you know, maybe the end forever, which it may be. Jon may die. Missandei and Grey Worm have this whole little sweet moment holding hands there, and I'm like, I just know it's gonna go bad, and it just breaks my heart. I wanted them to live happily ever after and just, you know, get away from all of this. It sucks. It's not fair. Tyrion and Varys, and they just chat some more about Dany and everything, and Varys, you know, brings up good points. I get it, but I still feel bad for her, and it's just not going well. Obviously, the writers are prepping Dany to become the Mad Queen. I hold out hope that with all these lows happening to her, that somehow at the end of all of this, it ends up okay for her. I also wonder why Dany didn't just burn Euron and all of them, like after they shot down Rhaegal. It looked like she was going to do it, but then it didn't happen. And I was like, they're hoping, wishing, and then I'm like, Euron and them decide to hit their fleets, their ships, and it's all, you know, destruction. And we see Grey Worm and more of the Unsullied swim ashore. And yeah, where's Missandei? It's just like, how convenient that they were able to get Missandei from that. Like, they purposely did that. I mean, if they would have had somebody else, it would not have had the impact on Dany. They really want to get her in this really bad state, so she burns everything to the ground. Grey Worm yelling for her broke my heart. This leak has been going around for a bit, that Missandei gets her head chopped off. They just didn't know exactly when or how until more recently. And I was hoping it wasn't true. Every time I didn't see it happen, I was like, okay, all good. And then it happens this episode, and I'm like, Cersei brings everybody into the Red Keep. Obviously, this is her power play. Like, come on, Dany, like, you really want to burn all of this? You're gonna have to burn all the people, and everybody's gonna lose respect for you. Varys warns Dany not to do it, not to burn it, not the right move. And yeah, I agree, but like, I also get how she gets to that point from all these awful things that have happened to her, especially after Missandei, Jorah, Rhaegal. It's just like, God, I would do the same. Varys points out Tyrion's drinking, and you could tell, like, Tyrion is, like, stressed out, and he's just drinking more and more, and Varys, like, points it out, like, get it together. I love Sansa's line where she says to Jaime, I always wanted to see your sister executed, and now I'm not gonna get the chance. Jaime and Brienne look like they had a round two. We don't really see it, but we see them, like, in bed and whatever, and he's just there, and she's in bed, and then he leaves. Yeah, it was awful. I was so upset. Even though I knew this would happen, it's not exactly out of character. Jaime's broken, and that's why I had mixed feelings about her getting with him, because I knew she had an emotional connection to him, and I knew that it would hurt her when he would choose to leave. I hope it's to kill Cersei, but who knows if he could even do it. I can't even imagine him really doing it, but that would be awesome. It's just everything keeps drawing him back over there. His sister, his lover, and he also thinks that she's having his baby, so Brienne cries and begs, and I'm like, oh, did they really have to make Brienne be like that? Like the strongest woman doing that? I'm just like, no, don't do that to her. She deserves better than that, of course. I like how Dany, Tyrion, and Varys and Grey Worm and the rest of the Unsullied, which is like, what, 15 of them, show up, like, ready, like, Cersei, like, we're here for you, like, surrender. It's like, y'all do not look frightening at all, like, not even a little bit. Like, they just killed one of your dragons. It breaks my heart that Missandei is standing there, chained up, just like how she started all of this as a slave, and now she's there, and I'm like, they did her so dirty. Tyrion, I just, like, feel like his character has gone so downhill throughout all of this. I used to love him, so brilliant and awesome, and then now it's just like a series of negative things. It's just like not going well. Just like he thinks Cersei's gonna surrender, it's gonna be all cool, and you're like, no, it's not. She's there looking at him like we all full know that she's not gonna do what he says. Also, like, maybe she couldn't even hear him. He was so, like, I don't even know what you, like, he's like standing way down there, she's up there, like, maybe she's just like pretending like, yeah, are you done? Okay. When she sees his lips sobbing, she's like, okay, I'm still gonna do what I want. So, and then when Tyrion says that whole thing about the baby, Euron's there like, wait, what? How does he know? Like, he wasn't even here. I wonder if he's even bright enough to be like, is she just using me? Cersei whispers to Missandei, okay, like, if you have any last words, this is your time to say it. And Missandei's standing there so strong and stoic. I was like, I love her. And she's so pretty. Natalie's so pretty. And she's just there, like, no tears running down her face, just so, so strong. And when she says, Dracarys, with all this emotion and strength, I'm like, can we just pretend this episode didn't happen, though? We can just end it at episode 3 or episode 2, you know, and just be like, wow, okay, that was the end of Game of Thrones. So the mountain decapitates her, and it was just horrendous to watch. I never want to see that again. I actually had to look away the second time because, like, the way the body falls on the head, I'm like, and then they show it on the ground on the floor like that, like she's nothing. Like, she's just, I'm just disgusted by it. And Grey Worm, who has seen awful things because he is the Unsullied, and they've had to kill babies, and, you know, basically before meeting her and being with Daenerys, he wasn't even really a person, just a fighter, a soldier. And he couldn't even look at it. He looked away, and I felt it. His reaction was so genuine, and it broke my heart. I can't wait for Cersei, the Mountain, Qyburn, Euron, and just all of her men in general to get what's coming, because I hate them so much. So yeah, basically it feels like they just killed her off to make Dany the Mad Queen, as if she wasn't already heading in that direction with everything that they have made her endure. They could have skipped this one, but okay. You know, it's kind of like these writers have learned nothing from what we've seen come out of when you kill one of your only characters of color. It just doesn't go over well with the fans. And I've seen, like, people react, you know. Amelia's such a great actress. We see her face, the beat changes. In a matter of seconds, we see it change from so many different things. Like, we know exactly what's going through her head. And then when you see her, like, her nostrils flare up and that anger, that rage, I was ready for her to just yell Dracarys and burn everything to the ground. So yeah, this episode hurt a lot. I wish it never happened. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. This was just really painful to watch. Some people really liked it. They thought it was good writing or whatever. But yeah, I thought a lot of characters weren't done great in this episode. But maybe because I'm bitter. Whatever. Everybody has their own opinion. So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you liked it or you didn't. Or what are your thoughts for the rest of this season? Are you excited? Or are you just, like, done and have very low expectations? I'm scared. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Bye.